what if money never existed? Like, not what if you were broke. We've all lived that, been there, done that. I mean, what if the entire concept of currency, coins, cash, Venmo, your grandma's envelope at Christmas, none of it just never happened? No dollar bills, no crypto, no arguing about who paid last time at Chipotle, no paying for nobody's OnlyFans. Sounds amazing, right? Well, you're wrong. Well, kind of wrong. It's complicated. And that's exactly what we're going to get into today. Because once you start actually thinking about a world without money, things get weird fast. Like humanity might not exist weird. So buckle up. We're about to rebuild a civilization from scratch and figure out if we've all be living like kings or actual cavemen. First, let's actually understand why money exists. Because I feel like most people have never thought about this. So imagine you're living like 10,000 years ago. You're a farmer, you grew wheat. Congratulations. You're not an idiot. You've got wheat. But you need shoes. So you got to go find that shoe guy. And you got to hope that the shoe guy wants wheat. Because if he doesn't, you're walking barefoot. Hope you like fungus on your foot. That's it. That's your life now. This system is called bartering, trading stuff directly for other stuff. Now, it sounds cute until you realize how absolutely miserable it would be in practice. Like, imagine going to the grocery store and instead of money, you're just showing up with random stuff like, yes, I'd like a rotisserie chicken. I have a slightly used yoga mat and 3 cans of paint. Now, that's bartering. And that's what all of human society was before money showed up. Money was invented basically to say, okay, we're all going to agree that this random thing, whether it's a gold coin, a shell, a piece of paper, shoot, a condom perhaps, represents value. So you can trade it for anything. And honestly, that might have been one of the smartest things humans have ever done. Or maybe the dumbest, perhaps. But in our world today, what if that invention just never happened? All right, so day one, no money, what happens? Nothing. Literally nothing. Because we're imagining a world where money never existed, not a world where it disappeared overnight. So nobody's panicking because nobody knows what they're missing. But here's where it gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean terrifying. Without money, you can't have prices. And without prices, you can't have markets. And without markets, you can't have an economy. And without an economy, you basically can't have civilization as we know it. So let's talk about what actually does exist in this world. People are still going to trade. Farmers trade food, builders trade labor, craftsmen trade tools, doctors trade medicine for whatever you've got that they want. Communities are small, tight. Everyone knows everyone, like a small southern town. Your reputation is your currency. If you're known as the guy who grows the best apples in the village, you're basically going to be Jeff Bezos rich. You can trade apples for almost anything. And honestly, that's something kind of beautiful about that. You work, you produce something real, and you trade it for other real things. No stocks, no interest rates, no inflation. But here's the thing though, barter only works when you have what someone else wants, and they have what you want at the same time. Economists call the double coincidence of wants. I call it the logistical nightmare. Like your dentist, you fix someone's tooth. What are they going to give you? A chicken? Half a cow? What if you're vegetarian? What if you have 47 chickens already and you need a new coat? And what about the things that can't be divided? Like, what if a house is worth 500 chickens, but the seller only wants grain? You going to carry 500 chickens to someone's door? The answer is yes, because you have no other options. Now, congratulations. Let the absurdity land before moving on. So, civilization in this world, it grows, but slowly, like very slowly, like turtle pace slowly, like painfully, frustratingly slowly, because every single transaction is negotiation. Every single trade requires finding a perfect match. You know how long it took you to negotiate your last salary? Now imagine doing that every time you wanted to buy a simple sandwich or a Krabby Patty. Okay, let's talk about something everybody loves to complain about. Jobs. Yes, I said the word, I said the J word. In a world without jobs, without money, as we know, they don't even exist. Like the paycheck of getting a 9 to 5, like the concept of getting a paycheck, it's all gone. That's a money thing. Instead, you work to produce. You are what you make. So here's the wildest part. Most of the jobs that exist today, they would not exist in a moneyless world. Accountants, gone. No money, no accounting. Bankers, gone. Stock traders, absolutely obliterated. Tax collectors, oh, they're definitely gone. And honestly, that might be the one worth it. Marketing people, gone. No need to convince anyone to buy something they don't need with money they don't have. Lawyers who specialize in financial disputes, gone. Cashiers, gone. The entire insurance industry, gone. Like a massive portion of modern society exists purely because this thing exists. Remove money and half the workforce just evaporates. Now, before you start celebrating, those people don't just disappear, they have to do something. And so now suddenly everyone's a farmer or a builder or a craftsman or a healer. Society becomes extremely hands on, extremely physical, and extremely local. Because you can't ship a million products across the world if you can't price them. International trade as we know it mostly collapses. You're trading with your neighbors, your village, your region. That is it. Okay, now this is the part that's gonna hurt. In a world without money, the smartphone you're watching this on probably doesn't exist. Yeah, I know. Just stay with me. Here's why. Building something like a smartphone requires tens of thousands of specialized components, microchips, glass, rare earth metals, the stuff we kill folks in Africa for, sourced from literally dozens of countries and assembled in massive factories. All of that requires coordination on a global scale. And global scale coordination basically requires money. You need prices to signal what's valuable, where it's needed, and how much to produce. Without that, nobody's mining lithium in the Congo and shipping it to a factory in China and turning it into a battery that ends up in a phone sold in America. That whole supply chain requires money at every single step. So technology in our moneyless world would be local, slow, dependent on what your community can build with what it has. We'd probably still have medicine, farming technology, basic tools, but iPhones, this internet, electric cars, space travel? Nah, bruh, not happening. We're talking like maybe medieval level technology, if we're being generous, depending on how well communities organize themselves. And here's the kicker. Without technologically advancement, without global communication, without the scientific collaboration that money enables, we probably never cure most diseases. We probably never figure out climate change. We probably never leave Earth. Money is annoying. Money causes war. Money causes inequality. But money also funded every single scientific breakthrough in the last 300 years. Okay. Now, before you go full money good, capitalism forever, let me give the other side its fair shot. Because a world without money, some things genuinely get better. Inequality basically disappears. Ha ha, in your face, Jeff Bezos. Like, you can't be a billionaire if there are no billions. You can't be homeless because of the debt if there's no debt. The obscene wealth gaps that exist in America today and across the world, gone. Now, what does that mean? Everyone's equal. Absolutely not. Nobody's equal if everyone's equal. Some people are still going to be more skilled, more respected, more influential, but nobody's starving because they can't afford food while someone else has a yacht the size of a small country. Mental health probably is going to improve. A huge chunk of human anxiety is financial. Can I pay that rent? Do I have enough saved? Am I in debt? Am I behind where I should be? Why does that guy across the street from me have so much more money? Remove money, and you remove an entire category of existential dread that most people carry around every single day. Now you replace it with other anxieties. Will the harvest be good this year? Will my neighbor trade with me fairly? But it's different, more concrete, more solvable. Communities are going to become tighter when you depend on your neighbors to survive. Not in a vague, we're all connected. We're all in this together. Y'all know y'all don't really mean that. But I mean in a literal, I need you to trade me food way. Relationships become everything. You can't be anonymous. You can't ghost people. Your reputation is literally the most valuable thing you own. And there's actually research suggesting that strong community ties are one of the biggest predictors of happiness and longevity. So, in that sense, people in this world might actually be happier, just also way less technologically advanced and dying younger from preventable disease like polio and Ebola. But hey, happy while they're alive, right? Mostly now, there's something here wild. Humans have actually tried versions of moneyless society multiple times throughout history. Some indigenous communities operated for thousands of years on gift economies, where you can give based on what you can and you receive based on what you need. No leisure, no debt, just trust. The Soviet Union tried to eliminate money based markets. It didn't exactly work out that way. But the attempt is fascinating. Kibbutzim in Israel, communal communities where everyone shares resources and there's no internal currency. Some of them are still running to this day. And in the 2000s, there was actually a town in Argentina during an economic crisis that created its own local barter network because the official currency collapsed. Hundreds of thousands of people participated, and it worked for a while. So the concept isn't just fantasy, it isn't a fairy tale. It's been done. The question is always, can it scale? Can it work when you're not in a small, tight knit community, but a society of billions of strangers? And the honest answer is, based on every attempt in human history, da 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 da, probably not. At least not with our current population size and complexity, which is kind of a bummer, but also kind of impressive that we keep trying. So, what if money never existed? Honestly, humanity probably survives. Communities form, people trade, civilization develops, just slower, smaller, more localized. We wouldn't have OnlyFans anymore. We'd probably be healthier in some ways, mentally, socially, spiritually, tighter communities, less anxiety, more purpose. But we'd also be living in a medieval level technological world at best. No internet, no modern medicine, shorter lives, no space exploration. Money is one of those things that's genuinely terrible and genuinely necessary at the same time. It is the best and the worst of what humans do and enables the best and the worst for humans to do. It funds wars and also vaccines. It creates ruthless billionaires like Bill Gates and also creates the supply chains that keep billions of people fed. Would I want to live in a world without it? Some days, honestly, yeah, I gotta escape that 9 to 5. But most days, though, I like being able to order food on my phone at 2 a.m. and, get that big back Uber's Eats order. So, probably not. But here's the real question I want you to answer. If you woke up tomorrow and money just ceased to exist, what skill do you have that would actually keep you alive in a barter system? Drop it in the comments. I want to know. And honestly, some of you are about to realize you have absolutely nothing to offer. Now, that's a crisis we should all be thinking about. And come to think of it, I don't think I have any skills myself.